So, as a next topic we will discuss the actions in analysis services. Actions are again stored MDX expressions or statements that can be presented to and employed by client applications that support the actions. That means depending on the client applications, if client application support actions, we can use actions to invoke certain MDX statements. Can use the specified data item as parameter passed to client application. That means you can pass the parameters from client application into analysis services. So, for example, in our Excel here, so this is our report, right. In this report I am showing 2013 sales amount is some amount, right. What if I want to see the detailed report of this particular measure? So, when I say 2013, that includes all the products, all the customers, everything. So, if I want to see a detailed report or I want to see a custom report for this particular measure, right. One way is to go to another reporting tool and use these filters, like I want to show the report for 2013 and whatever the report you want, pick that report and see the results. The other option is use actions to see the report from this Excel itself. Okay, that is one of the functionalities of action. You can use the actions to go to another report, and there are other options within the actions as well. We can do multiple things. So, the types of actions we have is these things: data set, row set, URL, reporting, drill through, statement, proprietary. Okay. Data set returns a data set to the client application. Row set returns a row set to the client application. That means a data set means it can have multiple row sets, multiple sets of data, whereas a row set is a single row set. URL is you can jump to a URL. For example, when I see the sales amount, I want users to go to some other web page. Let us say this sales amount, right. 2013 I see sales amount of this, and if I want to see the analysis, why the sales is like this, what were the factors for this amount, to see that kind of analysis, you may be creating some other web page where you put all the detailed analysis of why the revenue is this much, what were the contributing factors and all those things information, and you can provide that link here. So, user can click on that link to jump to that web page, that is URL. Then reporting is you can connect to SQL Server reporting services based on this values, and you can pass a corresponding value. For example, in this case, if I click on this sales amount, I can pass the year 2013 to the SSRS report, so that SSRS report can show the data of 2013. Okay, that was the reporting action I was talking about. And then drill through is within this, if I want to see additional columns and I want to see the detailed analysis, I can use drill throughs. Okay, we will see couple of them and see how we can do them, so that we can understand better. So, this is the page or window where we can do or where we can create actions. So, after calculations we have actions. Okay. So, if you look at these options here, you have new action where you can create a new action, and then you have a new drill through action and new reporting action. So, drill through and reporting actions are more frequently used, that is why they provided this buttons, I guess, explicitly. Otherwise, you can do it from new action as well. So, I will click new action, and this is the action wizard where I can specify an action. So I want to, as a first example, I want to jump to an URL. So as I was saying, when the user clicks on this particular sales amount, I want to go to a website where it gives a detailed analysis of this particular sales. Okay, so that is the example I want to try. So I will say go to URL, that is my action, name of the action, and I want to specify where that action should be enabled. Target type is where we enable that action. That means whether action should be enabled on this values or on the dimension members or on the levels. Where should I enable that action? What is the target? Okay, in my case I will say cells, because I want to enable that action under cells. And target object, do you want to enable on all cells or a specific values? So for cells, by default it picks all the cells, but if you say other options, dimension members or something, you can pick appropriate dimensions. So you can restrict that action to a specific dimension as well, but for my example I want to pick all the cells. And here action content, action type, I want to select URL. So these are the different action types we have: data set, row set, URL. Okay, yeah, I was saying this is, since these are more frequently used, they provided explicit buttons here, but we don't have those options here under type. So there is no drill through and no reporting action here. So if I want to create a drill through action, we need to go here only to create. Okay, so this example, as I was saying, I want to create a URL action. Okay, and my URL is let's say I want to go to .google.com and just put one URL. Okay, this could be any URL you want. Additional properties, interactive. Interactive means, do I need to trigger the action based on users users action or not, or you want to automatically fire up this action. So we have three options here. One is interactive, the other one is on open. On open means as soon as I do refresh on the Excel, this action will be fired. Interactive means when I click on that button on the cell, then only this action will be fired. And similarly batch is as a group it will fire. So most frequently used is interactive. Okay, so caption is MDX, false or true. So if you want to specify a caption depending on MDX expression, that means you want to write an MDX expression that derives a caption. So like for example, here, right, 2013 we have sales amount. My action, if I want to call my action name or the caption as click here, if you want, click here for 2013 report analysis or something. So in that case 2013 is derived from the cell, corresponding cell. If I go to 2014 cell and do right click action, I will be seeing a caption as click here for 2014 analysis. So that means depending on this cell we are deriving a caption, we are changing the title. Okay, so that you can do using this caption. So I am not doing all this here because it needs an MDX expressions. So we will do this when we go to MDX, when we learn MDX. Okay, caption is MDX false. So I am not putting a caption as a derived value. Instead I will just put a string jump to URL. So that is my caption. And my action expression is google.com, which is in double quotes. So now I created an action here. I will save this and deploy it. And once deployment is done, I will go to my Excel and try to browse the cube. Okay, deployment complete. I will go here, refresh, and now if I right click on this sales amount or any of the cell, I should be seeing an auction. So there is something called additional actions, right? So but it doesn't show it. Okay, it is not showing. So let me go ahead and process this cube. Okay, processing is done. I still don't see. So I haven't put HTTP colon here, so it was throwing an error. URLs that do not begin with HTTP or HTTPS are considered unsafe or will not be displayed by most applications. So let's see, HTTP. Okay, so that is what was missing. Now I don't see that warning. Now I will go to the Excel, refresh it. Now I see jump to URL. Right. So if I click on jump to URL, it should be opening the browser and going to the website. So like this we can use the URL action to go to a specific web page. Now when I have that analysis report, let's say I create an analysis for the sales amount of this specific year, I can define an action to go to a specific website. Okay. So that is URL action. Now we will talk about one more action, that is drill through action. Okay, this is also most commonly used action. So I want to create a drill through action to show additional content apart from this. Okay, assuming that this is the report we are giving to the users. So I will create new drill through action. I will just keep it as drill through action here, and measure groups, fact internet sales, that is the measure group I want this particular action to be applied on. And in the drill through columns, it is asking what are the columns to be shown as part of drill through. That means when user wants to drill through, or when user invokes this action, what are the columns we want to show it in the drill through. Okay. So I can go ahead and pick the columns I want. So in this case, let's say I want to select geography, and out of geography I want to show country, and next maybe I want to select customer, and I want to select their marital status, saying that married person bought how many or single bought how many. Okay. And then in the measures I want to show unit price as well, or sales amount. Okay. It does not matter, depending on your requirement you pick the appropriate values, appropriate levels you want to show. Okay. So this is my drill through action, and again properties are same as similar to the previous one. Default, is it a default? False. Invocation is interactive, that means this particular action should be triggered based on user's action, not by default or on open or anything. Okay. Caption is show detailed report, I will just call it as drill through. Drill through, that is my caption. Is caption an index? No, it is a plain string. Okay. So now I am done with creating a new action, that is drill through action. I will go ahead and deploy this database to the server, and I will try to browse it. So right click, as soon as I said additional actions, I see show detailed drill through report. I click on that, which will show me the columns I picked, saying that these are the region, marital status, price, sales amount. So like this we can show the detailed report. So when user wants to see, when user has this aggregated information and user wants to pick a user wants to see a detailed report, we can show it using drill through action. Okay. So that is about drill through action. And next I want to show one more action here. So I will click on new action, and this time, so in drill through action what did we do? We got the data from the cube, right? This data is existing in the cube. All we did is pick the different dimensions. But what if I want to get the detailed report from SQL Server? Right? I do not want to show the data that is already in the cube. Instead, I want to get some new information from the cube. Let us say order level information. When a user sees the sales amount, he may wants to go to order level. So I want to get order level information from the underlying SQL Server, because that information does not exist in analysis services. Okay. So that also we can achieve through the actions. So I create an action, I will name it as row set action, something like that. Okay. Row set action, and that applies to the cells, and I will pick all cells. Action type is row set, because I am returning, I want to return only one row set. So for the row set action to work, I want something to execute a SQL statement, right? I will write a SQL statement like something, select whatever values, but I want something to execute it, right? Analysis services by default cannot execute a SQL statement. So it will execute an expression, but that expression should be able to execute a SQL statement. So, to do that we need to take help from external libraries like C# or Java or anything, right. You need to write some kind of outside code and use those outside code here. Okay. So, I will just quickly create one DLL. I will say new project. So, I am creating a C# class library. Okay. Class library, I will call it as execute SQL. Okay. Execute SQL is my class library name. So, that is my code, and I will rename this class as execute SQL query. So, in this query, in this class, I will write a method that can call a that can execute a SQL query. Okay. So, I already have some code that does this job. So, I want to use the same thing. So, execute query, and I need to import system dot data system dot data dot SQL client. Okay. So, that this is my class library, and what it is doing, it basically takes accepts two parameters. One is the SQL script and the other is the connection string, and uses the connection string to connect to the server, and then executes given SQL statement and returns the results as a row set. Okay. So, I will save it. I will compile this guy, class library build events debug. Any CPU. Okay. So, I will go ahead and build it. Build started and build succeeded. Okay. So, now I want to use this particular library into my project, my analysis services project. So, if you look at this analysis services project here, I have something called assemblies. Assemblies is the place where we can include external libraries. Okay. So, I will go ahead and add a new library, new assembly reference. So, this one gives an option to choose different libraries. So, I will pick a project reference because I created a C# project here. So, the project is already existing in my solution. So, I will go ahead and pick this project, execute SQL, add, click OK. So, now that particular project is associated or included in analysis services project. Okay. And I need to set little security configurations here. Impersonation information, it is default impersonation mode. I will say it as use service account, says property invalid. Impersonation mode could not be set for assemblies with permission set as safe. Okay. So there is a property called safe, permission set as safe. I need to set it as unrestricted, and then service account. So basically what we are doing here is, by doing the settings we are elevating the permission levels, okay, to use service account and do the whatever the operation or whatever the steps we provided here or actions we provided. So now I included my execute SQL DLL into this analysis services project, and I have set the permission levels. And now I will go to the cube. Here I need to call the or I need to execute the statement. So the way we execute the statement is call, and my method name is execute query. I will say execute SQL dot execute query, execute SQL is the namespace, and execute query, and I need to pass connection string and the query, and my query I want to pass is let's see. So let's say I have this query and I want to execute this guy, which will give me some data, order date, product key, sales amount. Okay, that is my SQL statement. I take this SQL statement, copy it here, and that is my SQL query I want to execute. And my connection string. So let me do it on the outside. The fonts are not very clear here. Call execute query, execute SQL my namespace, and execute query is the method. I need to specify the connection string. My connection string is server equals to localhost initial catalog. Initial catalog refers to the database name, my database SQL database, and security persist security. These are the standard string, so don't worry about all this. So depending on the provider you need to have a different connection string. Integrated security equals to true. So that is my connection string. So in connection string, some places you may also provide a provider name, but in this case I am not providing. This is a simple connection string, and I want to execute this particular SQL statement. Select order date, product key, sales amount. So this is my call to the external procedure, external method. I will copy this, paste it here. Okay, so now I am done with my call, and the rest of the properties same as any other action. So what do you want be as a invocation method, whether you want to be interactive or on open or batch. Caption is I will call it as row set action. Okay, some caption. Is the caption MDX? No. Save it. Now I will go ahead and deploy this guy to the server. Deployment complete. I'll go ahead and refresh, right click, additional actions. Now I see the third one, row set action. So when I click on this, it is executing a SQL query against the SQL server, and I am getting the data, order date, whatever product key, sales amount, order quantity. That is the query I had. So like this we can access the data from the SQL server as well. So when you are querying, when you are browsing the cube, if on demand basis, if you want to access the data from SQL server, we can use the row set action. Okay. So we saw three types of actions today. One is the URL action, the other one is drill through action, then the row set action. The third one commonly used is reporting action. In reporting action, first step you would do is create a SSRS report and then map that report here. All you will be doing is server name, you provide the SSRS server name and the path of the report. So the URL of that particular report, or the folder path, not the URL, that is a relative path of that report, and the report format, whatever HTML5, 3, Excel or anything. And then parameters, let us say you want to pass a specific value to the SSRS. In this case, let us say for the year 2013, when the user picks either, when user sees when user triggers an action for 2013, I want to pass 2013 to the report, because when user clicks on this cell and say additional action and selects the SSRS report, I don't want to show the report for all the years. Instead, I want to show the years for which user selected, user did the selection. Okay. So that we can pass through parameters. Again, this value will be your MDX expression. The MDX expression resolves to the user selection. Okay. So like that we can create SSRS action. So SSRS action is simple, where we just need to have a SSRS report and provide the path, and additional properties are again same, interactive or batch or on open in the caption, and is the caption MDX. Okay. So like that we can create SSRS or report action. So we saw URL action, drill through action, row set action where we were querying the SQL underlying SQL tables, and the report action where we can call an SSRS report. So that is about actions. Actions are used very commonly. I did not see actions being used very commonly, but there are useful feature. Depending on the requirements, you may enable actions on analysis services.